Hello. Um, for all of you, those who have seen some of my other videos, you know I like Star Wars. I'm going to talk about a theory that's a few months old. Jar Jar Binks is a Sith. I'm not really going to delve into the theory itself. I've linked some videos in the description, like a 48-minute long video, a very funny video where these people are discussing the theory in different voices, and it's very, very interesting. And then the guy, by the username of Celestial Ronin, he's made quite a few videos on this topic. I don't know if he's gonna do it anymore because he wasn't overly thrilled with the Force Awakens. He didn't really like it, so, and he kind of got to the point where it's like, oh, people, it seems like just here for Jar Jar, and he wanted to do other stuff. He may come back and do more videos, and if he does, awesome. When I say more videos about Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks, and all that. Look at the videos I have linked. They're very interesting, I think. And what I wanted to talk about is more of the origins. I know there are some people that say, well, George Lucas never planned on Jar Jar being evil. He never planned on this and that. Well, there's a few problems with that. I do know for a fact, I read something some years back about Jar Jar revealing himself to be evil, and he just betrays the Jedi. He betrays Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and from what I recall, that's how the duel between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul began. It was Jar Jar betrayed the two Jedi, and they fought. And I saw something recently that said, excuse me, that he betrayed only Qui-Gon, which, okay, he's essentially he betrays them, but also the fact that was also the first draft. It wasn't it was like an early on thing. And he probably thought, I should just wait. I should hold that off. Build the character in this movie now so people get used to him, and then reveal in the sequel that, wait, this guy who, this character we all thought was an idiot, is evil. It is quite possibly one of the most dangerous characters in Star Wars. That would have been a big plot twist. And something about Star Wars is the prequels and the original trilogy are supposed to rhyme. They rhyme with each other. Like Luke gets his right hand cut off. Anakin gets his right arm cut off, which they then kind of screw up in Revenge of the Sith, because now he has it's all to here, when originally it was up to there, or somewhere around there. But that's kind of minor. But basically, father and son get right limbs cut off. Death Star blows up. And episode 4, episode 1, the station controlling the droids blows up. And there's a false victory. There's a celebratory moment at the end of the first installments of both trilogies. At the very end of it, Return of the Jedi, it ends with Darth Vader's mask coming off, and then the end of Return of the Jedi. No, it's not the very end, but at the end of Revenge of the Sith, not Return of the Jedi, is the helmet and mask is on Anakin. He's Darth Vader. So it's like the death of Vader and the birth of Vader. And in the middle of those trilogies, in Empire at least, there's a twist nobody saw coming, which if you've never seen Star Wars, you shouldn't be watching this video, because there's a spoiler, which everybody knows by now, or should. But Darth Vader's Luke's father. That was like a big shock way back when, in 1980. I was shocked when I watched it as a kid, because I watched it a lot growing up, but when I fully understood the story and everything, not just cool lightsabers and stuff, at a young age, at a very young age, like 3, 4 or so, I would watch those movies. It was pretty shocking. Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are father and son. Now, with George Lucas wanting the prequels to rhyme with each other like poetry, there should be a plot twist in the very middle of the prequels. That plot twist, as the theory says, is Jar Jar was supposed to be revealed to be evil. He is the Yoda equivalent of the dark side. He's his mirror, just as Anakin and Luke mirror each other in different ways. Like the originals, it's the rise and heroic triumph of Luke. In the prequels, it's the tragic fall of Anakin, a great Jedi who had a lot of potential to become to the dark side. Luke also has great potential, but he grows to be a great and powerful Jedi that helps to bring balance to the Force, with his dad. Because of him, his father is able to come back to the light and destroy the Sith, basically. At least for that time, because obviously now there's episode 7, and there'll be 8 and 9, and probably 10 through 12 sometime in the 2020s. And one thing about this theory, that it made so much sense. It also made sense of what George Lucas said in that documentary for The Phantom Menace, which people have mocked for years and years, but now that this theory has come out, people look at the evidence. It's like, okay, yes, this was supposed to happen, in which people, have, I said, like, mocked, was George Lucas saying about Jar Jar. Jar Jar's the key to all this. Forget Jar Jar working. And then he goes and cuts, and then he just stops himself and says, because he's a funnier character than we've ever seen before. He can't really reveal what he has planned, because this is a documentary, or a documentary crew is filming him and he doesn't want to reveal too much. So he's going to say something like that because in Phantom Menace, he's portrayed as a funny character. Whether you found him funny or not is, that's your own personal preference. As a kid, I loved Jar Jar Binks, and I still do. Not necessarily as much as I did as a kid, because he does really appeal to kids. But, I still like him now as an adult. But, times change when you get older. Or, like, feelings towards something changes. But I never hated him. I never hated him like people did. And that's another thing, like, so George Lucas has this story arc planned of Jar Jar being evil, to be the mirror opposite of Yoda. But then he sees the backlash. He sees people don't like Jar Jar Binks. They don't like him. They don't think he's funny. They don't like that he's an idiot. He is lucky. And has all these videos, some of these videos I've posted in the description, you see him use the Force. He uses the Jedi mind trick on Boss Nass to get promoted to general. There's a scene where Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon jump down as the droids are taking the Queen and people with her hostage, taking them somewhere. He's like right here on the left of Qui-Gon, and they fall down, and he's hanging on, and then he falls down, but he falls on the right, so he's now near Obi-Wan. Now, obviously it's like, oh, that's a continuity error, because that happens in movies, edits happen, you thought, it's like, oh, okay, well, Jar Jar was supposed to be there, but he's here now, okay. So, that can be completely written off as a continuity thing. However, there's droids. And what I say is, like, you see a droid in one of the videos that they point out to. A droid is tracking Jar Jar, like, and another droid is firing where Jar Jar originally was, but then looking to where he is now, like, wait, what? You see a droid. So you see droids literally looking towards where Jar Jar is now. One obviously was shooting at him, and is now looking to where he is now, kind of like, wait, what? How is that possible? You were right there, and now you're here. And droids are CGI. They are completely. I mean, they're models. There's models of them, so they can get a reference point of what the droids should look like. But when they move and everything, with guns and shoot and all that, that's all CGI. Also, in these videos and in the posts, it's said like, oh, well, he mouths words that people say. Like, Padme says to Qui-Gon, well, I don't approve. When he's going into Watto's workshop to talk to him. You see Jar Jar go, approve. Captain Panaka is talking to Qui-Gon Jinn about convincing him to take Padme. He doesn't want to, but he says the Queen wishes it. She's curious about the planet. You see Jar Jar go, like he's mouthing the words. Another thing that people have not pointed out, but I actually found out on my own, was, when they're in which also pertains to something else, when they're in the sub and they're going on, when they're talking, going through the planet core and all that, it's one thing that Jar Jar doesn't really give any actual direction at all. He's just there. He does this in order to get Qui-Gon to let him come with him. But also when they're in the sub, he doesn't really give Obi-Wan any directions. He should be giving him directions through the planet core to get out safely. It's not the whole point. He knows how to get out, but he's not telling Obi-Wan how. And he's like, also just the thing is why are you banished? Why are you banished, Jar Jar? Oh, it's not a long. It's kind of like a long tail, but part of it would be clumsy. He's like, banished because you're clumsy. You might be saying that. It's very vague. Okay, if it's a long story, obviously you summarize it shortly, but clumsy, really? Obi-Wan's even skeptical about that. But it's been said when they're attacked by this fish, it's been said that he used the Force to bring in this bigger fish and to attack it so they can get away. So it makes me think we should be going back now. And obviously they don't go back, but they go into this cave, and then this other fish that is in there, and they're going away, and he passes out, and then the bigger fish comes up and then attacks that fish. And people are like, oh, the eyes. The eyes are like Jar Jar Binks that are yellow, which is also like the Sith color eyes. Darth Vader has yellow eyes. Palpatine has yellow eyes. Jar Jar does too. Which some say, well, Gungans do too. Okay, so maybe that is perhaps a weak point, but still, the Sith have yellow eyes nonetheless. So does Jar Jar. But back to the submarine part. Jar Jar, when he's waking up, you could probably go as he wakes up and goes, "Oh boy!" But if you actually listen, he actually says, "Oh, alcove," and then you hear, and you see Qui-Gon goes, "Head to that alcove." Jar Jar literally suggests they go to the alcove. He goes, "Head to the alcove. Head to the alcove." There you go. He gave some information with some manipulation. Because he also mocks Qui-Gon's ability to use the Force, because his Jar Jar's Force abilities are greater than Qui-Gon's. Those droids don't like him. And I know I'm going into depths about the theory, which I know I didn't plan on doing it, but I don't know. The more I thought about this, because I wanted to do this video earlier, but the more I thought about it, the more I kept thinking about it. More and more mention this and that and everything. So I'm kind of all over the place, which I apologize. Um, but something else is like that's always been mentioned is Count Dooku. Um, Count Dooku arrives with no explanation, no background. We are never given any background of him. He's just there. And people do like Count Dooku, but I think that's also probably most likely because it's Christopher Lee, and he's memorable because the character is played by Christopher Lee. Um, if he didn't play Count Dooku, I don't think people would really remember Count Dooku all that much, because he doesn't really play a huge part, except for fighting Obi-Wan, Anakin, Yoda, and then being killed in the Phantom or Revenge of the Sith. I got Phantom Menace on my mind, but he's there really just to advance the story, to fill plot holes, because the Jar Jar being evil was thrown out because George Lucas, he served to the fans. Fans didn't want Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars anymore, or at the very least, if he had to be there as like a cameo or something. So George Lucas then had him, Jar Jar, give ultimate power, all emergency powers to Palpatine, thus setting up Palpatine being able to have his empire when he sees fit, like when the time is right. So, people can be like, well, that was just Palpatine messing with Jar Jar, using the Force on him and all that. That could be. But Ahmed Best actually said that the characteristics for Jar Jar Binks, he changed nothing for the character, but he changed important plot points. He changed plot points that involved Jar Jar because of the backlash of the character as well as the Phantom Menace. So, you can't really use the character you wanted to turn out to be perhaps the most evil character in all of Star Wars, which I think George Lucas should have. But for the sake of all argument, if you have a character you created, you wanted this big setup and reveal for, when it turns out people don't like that character, you can see why. Well, it might not be such a good idea to go through with that original plan, because unless you have it planned out so detailed that you are here and you know for a fact it will work, in a way, it's kind of a big risk. I think he should have done it anyway. I think George Lucas should have gone forward with it. I like the prequels the way they are. I've always loved the prequels, but they could have been a lot stronger with that. But but if we could go back in time, if we knew now, if we knew then what we knew now, I mean, obviously there wouldn't be a real surprise, but I guess if we knew how important Jar Jar was, like he's actually going to be very important. I don't know how, but he will be very important in the next two movies. Just wait. It'll all be revealed. It will make sense. if we knew at least that, well, not me, because I probably when Phantom Menace came out, plus I liked Phantom Menace then and still do now, so I guess in a way not me. But I think if a certain degree of Star Wars fans had the inclination that Jar Jar was going to be important, very important, more important than just convincing the entire Senate to give Palpatine emergency powers, have a lot more importance than just that. Of him being evil, being the mirror image of Yoda, evil, because Yoda originally in The Empire Strikes Back when we're introduced, he's an idiot. He acts like an idiot to Luke, and then he's revealed to be the Master Jedi. Same with Jar Jar, introduced as an idiot, revealed to be Master Sith, or at least a Master Sith, if he wasn't the Master Sith. I know some say he was actually supposed to be Darth Plagueis, and thus perhaps the Darth Plagueis story in Revenge of the Sith comes from, or maybe he was supposed to represent that. And some people say, well, what if he was lying? Palpatine lying to Anakin. And I know there was a book that documents that, but that was originally canon, but now all expanded universe books are non-canon except for the very few new stuff, which I've heard isn't that great. Like, one book is good, but then the second book that they have out is not good at all. I like the fact that Jar Jar was supposed to be evil. I do believe that was a fact, that is a fact that was supposed to happen. But because of backlash, because minority of fans were allowed, and I say minority because you know what? Other countries, like Asian countries, for instance, they like the prequels. They really like the prequels. It's over here in America, possibly, I think England, like North America and England, there's so many people that didn't like those movies. Didn't like The Phantom Menace. Plus, there's people like us, like me, for instance, that love the prequels, but because I'm not as loud of a vocalist for the prequels. Like, I can say I love the prequels as much as the original trilogy. I love the original trilogy more, but to a certain degree, I do love them on an even keel because they all the six go together fairly well. I'm not talking about the first six movies. I'm not getting involved in this, just for the sake of the rhyming of the trilogies, because the other trilogy hasn't been completed yet, so we have no idea how it'll all turn out. So for the moment, just the two trilogies. I love 1 through 6, and it flows very fluently and it connects well. But I do think if George Lucas kept his plans for Jar Jar to be evil, it would have been, the prequels would have been far more amazing than they already are. But George Lucas succumbed to the people that were the loudest outspoken about the Phantom Menace. He's like, well, it's too big of a risk for me to do what I want with this character which will help the story and plot of the prequels and overall plot of Star Wars. So I can't do that. It would have been cool. It would have been interesting, and I really wish he did. I wish George Lucas went ahead with it, but he didn't, and that is unfortunate. So that's really it, because I could go on, but again, I already went on longer than I wanted with the details of the theory. And again, there's videos in the description below, so you can check those out. The 48-minute Gnoggin one is very long, obviously, because it's 48 minutes, but it is very good, I have to say. It's well thought out, or well put, well made. And there's like 6 little chapters in there that kind of breaks it down. And check out the Celestial Rodin video I have. That is very good. And he made some good videos. Again, I have no idea if he will make any more. Doesn't seem like he will anytime in the future. But who knows? And then the other video is Darth Jar Jar theory. Is Jar Jar Binks an evil Sith Lord in Star Wars? By BKK TV. And that's good. And those are good good videos. And obviously I put the Reddit link in the description. And that's it. So we'll see you all next time. I hope to do another video again. And I have some other plans for some videos and other stuff. So keep a lookout for that. And and I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.